Amber and Mark is a chop. Please let it go already. Honestly, what are we even doing here watching a relationship that have been sinking for the longest time? Amber and Mark can't work simply because they come from completely different worlds. It's as obvious as the day. They are like two parallel lines that can never meet. But that is not just the only reason I feel they couldn't work. In this video, I went back to season 1 of Invincible, watched how Mark and Amber played out, formed a relationship, and this is why I think they can't work. Now, I'm going to start with how they met. Amber is a student in a school that Mark attends. On this fateful day in the hallway, Amber was being harassed by this guy named Todd, and from the look of things, Amber should have just gone ahead with Todd because he clearly wants her. Keyword here is wants her. Just that Todd is dumb for moving to a girl in that manner, or maybe he does not even like her. Well, anyways, Mark comes to rescue Amber from Todd, but I think it was more of like Amber came to rescue Mark because my guy immediately got whooped so bad by Todd. And it's even funnier because his best friend Will told him not to interfere, but he went ahead and got whooped. Now, the point I'm making is, one, Mark only got to know about Amber because her loud voice interrupted his conversation with Will, and Mark, simply being a superhero even though he hasn't gotten his superpowers at the time, decided to help the poor girl in need who turned out to be Amber. Two, had Amber not been loud, Mark wouldn't have probably ever crossed paths with her. Are you seeing where I'm coming from? The next time Amber saw Mark was having a conversation with Eve. Amber then joined a discussion between two random girls whom happened to be talking about Mark.
Are you talking about Mark Grayson?
Duh. Of course, Amber. You're the reason Todd beat him up again.
Nah, these girls lied to Amber talking about she's the reason Mark got beat up again. I will still get to that. So this was the first time Amber was seeing Mark and Eve together, and it's obvious that she couldn't help but notice how good they look together. And knowing that Eve is the hot chick in the school, I feel like it automatically creates this unknown competition to top her in the game to get Mark's attention more, because she's already developing feelings for Mark at the time. I mean, it's just pure girl science. So in their next meetup, Amber hits Mark with,
"Hey, I heard you took a few on the chin for me again."
Oh, hey, Amber. Yeah, but...
Like I said before, those girls lied to Amber saying that she's the reason Mark got beat up the second time. That is a lie, because what actually happened is that Todd saw Mark the second time and started being a douchebag all over again.
And I don't see Amber anywhere nearby to protect your sorry ass.
Todd, please. Just don't...
Don't?
And then Mark wanted to flex his newfound abilities to actually test how they really work. That is why he told Todd to hit him again. So saying that he did that because of Amber is wild. And this is the problem, because Amber already started assuming that Mark is into her. The whole chit-chat with Amber and Mark seemed like Mark was doing her a favor by replying to make her not to feel bad. At some point, the whole conversation was becoming invasive, and my boy made a run for it.
Nice. He'll never see it coming. Unfortunately, neither will your face.
People always told me I was too pretty anyway. I gotta run. Catch you later?
To make matters worse, Mark even left to go meet up with Eve. That look on Amber's face is like, this bitch again. This is the point I feel like Amber should have picked the signs that Mark is not really into her and then back off, because that expression in her face, I thought she realized that Mark was not the one. Next thing Amber did was go ask Will if Mark and Eve were dating.
Is Mark dating Eve Wilkins?
I wish.
Well, in Amber's defense, it's totally okay to shoot your shot on who you like, no cap. I always shoot shots, but the difference between me and Amber is that I know when to back off. Will told Amber Mark and Eve were not dating and jokingly requested to give her Mark's number.
He is super available. You want his number? I'll write it down for you.
To be honest, I thought she wouldn't take the number from Will, because the fuck is that? I mean, why would he even have to pitch it to her like that? But Amber took the number regardless, and not only did she take the number, Amber did one of the wildest things I've seen in this show, forcing her number on Mark through Todd. Amber manipulated Todd to publicly apologize to Mark and also hand him her phone number, or she leaked some old photos of him.
I'm sorry I kicked your ass, okay? Amber Bennett also wants to know if you'd like her number.
What?
Do you want Amber's phone number, nerd?
Yes, but why are you...
Because she found some old photos of me, okay? Photos she said she'd delete if I did this one stupid thing and then never talk to you again.
I must confess, that's the boss bitch move, having thought to do that for you. But that is also desperate as fuck. Alright, so Mark goes ahead to call Amber. Now tell me why Amber started roasting Mark on the phone. Mind you, this is the first time they are ever talking on the phone. It's like, so you went through having thought to give Mark your number just so when he calls you on the phone, you can call him lame.
All your baby
Hello?
Hey, it's Mark Grayson. Mark Grayson?
I was wondering if you were gonna call.
Don't you mean when?
I came on too strong. You've got a girlfriend. You're lame and you don't like chicks who kick assholes in the balls when they threaten you.
Jesus, I'd be so scared if a girl moves on me like this. If not for anything, the fact that it's our first time on the phone, I don't know, but like that is not a good first impression for me. And then Amber goes ahead to say that Mark's terrified of her.
You're terrified of me, aren't you?
She then made Mark to lie to her by saying,
Oh, I think you're amazing. That's why I'm calling to tell you that.
wait, I'm confused. What impression is Amber trying to create here? And who told her that move will work? Because one, Mark don't know you like that yet to think you're amazing. And two, you're already putting him on hot seat first time you guys are talking. I'm slowly noticing the type of person Amber is. I think she's dominant. Well, they started all over again.
You wanna start again? Hey, handsome Mark Grayson? What's going on?
Exactly, this is how it should have been. Sometimes women can be the reason why some guys act the way they do around them, because they often assume a lot of things that are not even there. The reason Mark had called Amber was to ask her over to his place so that they can go over one of their class lectures together. Now tell me why Amber already tagged it a study date, saying things like,
A study date? Well played. Safe and responsible, no pressure, but with potential for things to move to the next level.
Jesus, why is she like this for real? What annoys me the most was how she was talking to Mark like he's some kid that doesn't know his way around girls, but she's actually the one that is basically forcing herself on him, yet you are teaching him how to make moves on you. Please be for real, Amber. She even had my boy sweating. The day of the study date has arrived as planned, since that is what we're doing now. We saw William trying to point out Amber's interest to Mark so that he can use them to give off the impression he's into her, but Mark does not operate that way. He prefers to be genuine in his interactions, so he didn't give in to that.
William said I should read it to show you that I'm interesting, and I will, but this is more me.
That's a very dope boy right there. So Amber got to Mark's place, they started catching up, things were flowing between them. You know, they were hitting up cool conversations until Cecil's call distracted them. Cecil had called to send Mark out on a mission, and Mark swiftly completed the mission and returned back to Amber as quickly as possible. Amber wanted to be messy. She tried to guilt-trip Mark into thinking he had wronged her for leaving, when clearly she was there when the call kept coming in.
Why did you even agree to hang out if you weren't gonna hang out? I don't even know why I came.
Mark's comeback was harder.
Why did you come? You didn't even know I existed until I stood up to Todd.
For the record, Todd kicked your ass.
At this point, I think she realized she was in the wrong here, so she eased up and mellowed down, as she should, because the fuck is wrong with you, Amber? Both of them ended up resolving the issue and even shared their first kiss. Their relationship basically started kicking off from there. They started spending more time together. We can now say they are now in a relationship. So it got to a point where Mark started thinking about telling Amber who he really is, his powers and all that comes with it. He reached out to Eve for an advice on that, and Eve hit him with,
If you're gonna tell Amber the truth, you better be serious about her.
Now that's the face you make when you don't even know if you're serious with the relationship or not. Everything was just moving so fast. Mark was really struggling with telling Amber about who he truly is because his schedule started becoming tight. Things slowly started going sideways between Mark and Amber because Mark now have more responsibilities as a superhero, and that resulted to disappointments between the two, showing up late to dates, missing out on his invites, even a dinner invite with Amber's mom. And I understand if Amber gets mad at him particularly for this one, because they planned meeting with the mom and he still showed up late. By late I mean he missed the dinner as a whole, so yeah, that is bad. But you can cut my guy Mark a slack because he was caught in some shit with a crime lord in that episode. Yet again, Mark missed out on another event that Amber holds dearly. It was a thing where Amber and her community served dinners to anyone hungry. She invited Eve and Mark for it, but sadly only Eve could make it. Mark missed it because of the mess with the crime lord, but the main reason he actually missed the event is because there was a fight and he was badly beaten. Like, bro generally just couldn't make it to the event no matter what. Eve being there, she helped Amber and also used the opportunity to let Amber know that Mark actually cares about her. The next time the two graced our screen, Mark was already recovering from the injury sustained from the altercation with the crime lord. He apologized yet again to Amber for not showing up for her event. I also think this is one of the best moments together in this whole show.
So, wanna hang out sometime?
Sure.
Moving forward, William had a tour at another university called Upstate U, and Mark asked to tag along. He also invited Amber. The tour was fun for the most part. Mark and Amber spent a lot of time together while also exploring the university until the university got attacked. Mark had to go invisible mode to save the day, obviously, and in the midst of the whole chaos, Amber noticed Mark's absence. She then got mad and angry at him for leaving. She even cried. Now, this is where my issue with Amber began. During the attack, or let's just say throughout the entire ordeal, including the stand-ups, the letdowns, Amber knew that Mark was invincible. She knew the reason why he was always late, why he misses the appointment. She figured it out somehow and kept it to herself. Cool. I'm like, so why exactly is she crying here when she knew he actually left for a good reason, to save Will and every other person, including her, from the attack? Her reason for crying is actually because she got tired of Mark lying to her about who he truly is. This is a typical example of good point, wrong scenario, because the most important thing at this moment was saving the people first. So her crying was just too self-centered. She was angry that Mark did not regard her well enough to tell her such secret, and I'm like, that's such a big deal to throw about like that, you know, knowing the gravity of it all. She can just be in danger for having that information at all. But no, she was being too self-centered at the moment, caring only about herself, even to the point that she got mad at him for leaving to save the day. Don't get me wrong, she has the point to be angry at Mark for hiding such secrets from her, but what is not acceptable is crying and getting mad at him for leaving, knowing fully well he left to save the day. And the worst part is that she saw Invincible in action, so technically Mark never left. Does that mean she'd rather him stay with her than actually saving people, especially Will? That is really wild. Amber ended up ignoring Mark throughout the whole weekend and eventually dumped him. After the whole situation with Omni-Man and the world, if you've seen season 1, you know exactly what I mean by Omni-Man's situation with the world. Alright, so things got back between Amber and Mark. Amber realized that she was kind of harsh on him earlier, so she apologized and they got back together. This time, the only thing different is that Amber is now well aware that Mark is invincible, and she also knows his responsibilities. There's now like a mutual understanding between the two. No more secrets. Moving forward, they both got accepted into Upstate University. Things were moving on really well for both of them, flying on dates, having sex, you know, basically just living. With Mark now officially being invincible with Amber, he's also fully performing his duties as a superhero well. He's always out on a mission in the space, not always being there. He finds himself always apologizing for having to leave.
I'm sorry, but
No, stop. Don't apologize. Never apologize for saving lives. This is the deal, and I'm good with it. Go.
Well, at least Amber got this one right. Things just continued going on like that for the two until episode 6 of season 2. Mark and Amber started feeling the impact of Mark's constant absence. They reflected on how they thought college would be different, doing things college students do like late night parties, spending more time together, but they ended up spending even lesser time than they did in high school. Amber complained how she always had to lie to her friends to cover for his constant absence. She also complained about moments that she would need him around, but he won't be there. It was just too much they were experiencing. They reached out to their friends for advice regarding their relationship. Mark complained to Art about how he feels he's repeating his whole experience with his dad as Omni-Man. To Amber, you know, how Omni-Man was always out saving the world, not being there for him and Debbie all the time. And when they complain about that, it makes them look selfish because people actually needed saving. Amber reached out and related to Eve the same thing they are going through, how she feels Mark needs someone that knows what it's like dating a superhero, because constantly keeping Mark's secret from her friends and family makes her a liar and she doesn't like it. So she's basically saying that Mark needs to date a superhero. Now here is my thing. At this point, it's very obvious their relationship can't work because they are both from different worlds. Amber was right when she said
Mark needs someone who, what it's like dating a superhero.
So I say they need to break up already, because after their pep talk with Art and Eve, they even started repeating what their problem is all over again. Amber being alone in parties and Mark already hooked up in space business. So you see, they are just like two parallel lines that just can't meet. So this is exactly what I feel is the problem between Mark and Eve. Mark probably does not know how to break up with Amber because he knows how she'd react to it. It's probably going to hurt her more, and he doesn't want to be the bad guy by calling it off from from his side. Mind you, this is Mark suppressing his feelings to make her happy by still keeping the relationship. Amber on the other hand knows this. She knows Mark is not for him. She knows he probably does not know how to break up with her, but she's still being delusional, thinking they can still work. That is why she is still holding on. Well, newsflash Amber, you guys can't work. Y'all need to break up ASAP. Let everyone go for who rocks their boat. I think both of you deserve that. An external factor I think is the main reason why they can never work is, first of all, their relationship was never mutual. It was all Amber's doing. She perpetrated the whole thing. She gunned Mark down and got him, which is really cool, but it wasn't what Mark wanted. Mark simply grew to liking her and then they formed a relationship from there. I don't think Mark wanted a relationship with Amber from the onset. In the case of Amber, she started off calling all the shots, being dominant, telling Mark what to do, how to get to her, always reading Mark's move.
A study date? Well played. Safe and responsible, no pressure, but with potential for things to move to the next level. Smooth.
Even down to the bedroom, Amber did not allow Mark to breathe. She kept interrupting the mood, telling him what to do and what not to do.
How'd you do that?
Superpowers, baby.
Don't call me baby.
Got it.
Asking unnecessary questions that she could have asked way earlier. I remember being so aggravated by this scene when I saw the episode, and I even tweeted about it. Amber is someone that is dominant. She has subconsciously nurtured Mark to listen to her and to do things her way. Amber did not allow Mark to take control, to tell her how he wants to move with her. That is why Mark couldn't figure out how to easily tell her about him being invincible from the onset, because it was more of Amber's relationship. She calls all the shots, and when Amber couldn't control how Mark uses his abilities, it becomes a problem. She just couldn't adapt for him. And if you noticed, Amber started showing us she's dominant in the beginning. That is why she did not give Todd a breathing space, didn't hear him out, because she wants to be in control. She wants to be the one that moves to boys and not boys moving to her. Hell, she even made Todd work for him by having him give Mark her number. I swear, that is so funny, I can't even lie. That is why she went for Mark, because she felt Mark is a sim for her.
I wanted to know the kind of guy that would do that.
An idiot?
Maybe, maybe not.
But she got it all wrong and picked the wrong guy for her. And now their relationship is so rocky and they still can't break up. It does not make sense. If you made it to this level of the video, you are the real MVP. I really appreciate you. No, for real, you are the most valuable person in my channel right now, because this is my longest video yet. So watching to this level is a big deal for me. I sure had a good time with the scripts. There were times I was like, why am I even doing this? But here we are. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. Let me know your thoughts on the video, and most importantly, what do you think about Mark and Amber's relationship? Let me know in the comment section. I will see you guys in my next video. I'm out of here.